Welcome everyone to the Whovians cast. I am your host, Matrix Lord 212, and I'm with Connor Farley. What's up, Connor?
Hello.
What's up, Beefhead?
Hello.
What's up, Philip?
Hello.
All right, so what's going on? Anything new in Doctor Who land?
It's Saturday night in the UK, or even Sunday, early even Sunday morning. Belated birthday wishes to you.
Thank you.
Of the 212. How old are you? Obviously
46.
My God, I remember when you were 40.
Right. Right.
And do you know what? You don't look a day over 52. You really
Thank you. That's an insult. Okay.
I do.
Very nice. Hello, Bad Wolf.
We're in the middle of a what we would call a storm in the UK, what you would call perhaps a mere trifling, but nothing. We're eagerly anticipating the lead into the finale. Just remember, 3 episodes left. 3.
Three. Yeah.
The power of 3.
Right.
Has it gone quick though? In your mind?
God damn. It's gone quick.
Pretty
I
much
think
over.
it's gone quicker because we had 2 episodes in 1 week at the very
Yeah,
best.
that sped up the process, I think. So the last episode, Can You Hear Me? I mean, how do you judge that episode, Beef? Did you think of it like it was a lead into something else? Like maybe at some point in time the Black Guardian could return, like they kind of opened up the doors to a new generation of fans about some of the old foes?
No.
What do you think? No?
No. Completely the opposite. It's a big concept, and I've made my feelings very clear on this, I think, on Twitter and everything like that. About this was they tried to do a lot with this week, and when you want to make a episode about mental health like they've done, and they've done it very adeptly when they did Vincent and the Doctor, don't overcomplicate it.
Right.
And they're overcomplicating. They had too many side stories that you can't really fill into the gap. Too many side characters you can't fill into the gap. Like, just make it simple. Concentrate on what it is. You could have done, Ryan's mate, and then you could have focused on Yaz's backstory. The worst part is that Yaz's backstory, there's no foreshadowing to it. It just seems like it's like you're adding it on because we've got this episode, we want to talk about this issue, so now we're just adding this element to Yaz's backstory that there's been no foreshadowing to.
So less would have been more, right?
Oh God, less would have been more, because I think you're doing something where you're dispatching gods really quickly. You're doing this big highfalutin episode, and then you also want to add the time travel aspect into Aleppo into it. Take that out of it. Concentrate on what you've got there. If you've taken that, otherwise you're just getting a character. You're going there, picking up a character, and taking them out of time, which we've already had this season in Spyfall Part 2. And we already had that in one of the other episodes. We're taking a character out of their time and taking them to somewhere else.
Right.
And it didn't need to be done to address the issue of mental health. The veil of the story was Zellin. You have an extra god who sort of like underplays all the build-up that you've given to this really interesting character with menace and presence and everything like that, and then make him second string to someone who you really see for very little time and has very little impact on the screen.
Right.
So yeah, I do feel last week's episode missed an opportunity. While it addressed something that is very prevalent at the moment, and if anyone got anything out of it and it resonated with them and it made them see things in a different way, then great, more power to you. But to be honest with you, if you want to have a significant impact and do that, then make it smaller. because if you make it smaller, then you're focusing on what you're doing. You can make the impact that you have better.
Right.
Whereas if you spread yourself too thin, then it doesn't do any good, and that's it. But yeah, there are other people here. I don't want to be hogging the one.
Yeah. So, Chuck, you want to answer?
Hey, good evening, guys.
What's up, bro?
Charlie.
Mr. Beef, how are you, sir?
I'm in extremely rude health.
Yeah, boy. I'm just kind of jumping in here, so I'm kind of cold on what you guys are talking about.
We called the last episode. You see it? Can you hear me? Did you see the last episode? Can you hear me? That's actually the name of the episode.
I did see that episode. Yeah, I'm mixed on it. I liked it, but you know, there are portions of it that have been brought up that I see where people are coming from, where it was on the fence. So, but I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, you think that will go down in history as people will only remember the Graham thing and not Yaz or the Eternals or anything else. They just focused on the Graham, and the doctor moments. I mean, what do you think,
the thing
Philip?
is, people are going to remember what
just
they listen to. You know.
Yeah.
If they're always listening to people, they're going to get that. That's what they're going to remember.
I mean, Charlie, you think because the doctor has been more concerned with the companions in the past and trying to tell them how they're brilliant, how they're wonderful, and spending special moments and talking to them and rebuilding their confidence, that her doctor is now insensitive. I mean, how could she be socially awkward if she deals with tons of people socially? That's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. I mean, she can deal with the stranger better than her own fam, which is, I mean, she was there for Ryan with his, so how could she not be there for Graham? I don't understand. Or she was there with Graham for Grace, so why would now all of a sudden she feel awkward?
I'll let Charlie answer this, and then if I may insert a rebuttal when
Yes.
he's done.
Go ahead, Charlie. Okay.
Well, okay. Well, let me fill the void because I hate a quiet space. The thing is, I understand what they were doing, and this could have been a really, one of those ones that they'll talk about for years to come. But yeah, there are points that you highlighted there that do actually make that thing. If you think about, I like to think about it because everyone, when they have a certain issue or a certain point that they do it, you think about Patrick Troughton in Tomb of the Cybermen and everything like that, where he thinks about, when he talks to Victoria about how to deal with the death of someone and everything like that. There is an empathy to the Doctor, and there has been, I think, certainly through this series, and perhaps certainly through this series, I can think of in great recollection, where the Doctor has a crisis of conscience, and they said, we're your family, we've got you back, and everything like that. I understand it, but when you are trying to deliver a message of perhaps it would be easier to talk to someone or everything like that, you can explain that stuff away with even a line of dialogue and say, look, Graham, look, I'm sure, sometimes things happen and they happen for a reason, or, I can't do this, I can't talk to it. The idea that you actually have to just explain away the reaction to it, it's a very sensitive issue. And it's bad. I don't think it's good that the BBC have to issue a statement explaining the Doctor's reaction to it. You can't explain it away by saying the Doctor is an alien, because that's just making an excuse for it, to be honest. Because although you had Capaldi's Doctor saying, I'm sorry a pet person friend died, I'm sorry I'm not from Aberdeen, but then you've got the same thing about Clara and the Doctor saying fear is a superpower, this, that, the other. You can't just have that disconnect. You can't have that separation to it. So there has to be a stopgap, even if it's a simple line of dialogue. As much as I appreciated the joke made, and I liked the joke made because it was executed well in the way it was written, it was not appropriate for what they had.
I really. No,
Go
go
on.
on. No, finish it. No,
No, yeah, I think that's it. You could have made that a really good point. You could have done that. You could have made a line of dialogue. I don't think it would have hampered the story. She could have put a line of dialogue, then gone with the same speech that you had to say, "Oh, I don't know what to say." But
could it be the writers and their experience that they just don't know how to write for the Doctor? Because it's not all Chibnall.
The writer for this one has dealt with these sort of heavy type of young adult issues. I think, which is the way that the show is being directed at the moment. And it was just it was written and executed in a bad way. An extra line of dialogue would have solved the problem, and still had the same thing afterwards.
Yeah. I just don't like the idea that Doctor Who as a show is used as a vehicle to. You know what I'm trying to say? I don't think that sort of stuff is a good vehicle in Doctor Who, because Doctor Who, we get that in real life. We deal with that sort of stuff in real life. I don't want to see
socially awkwardness,
I don't want to
pollution and recycling and global warming.
All those sort of messages I don't want to see in Doctor Who. I want to have fun.
I mean, is this Chibnall's way of just implanting what he wants to talk about? It's on his mind in like, can he separate what he wants to talk about in his personal things away from the show that he's hired to write for? I mean, like, why can't he just write about her, like the Doctor? Why does he have to put? How many episodes now that we have about the environment and about like plastic? And I mean, there's already 2 episodes, right? I mean, like, how many times, like, he even through Brian's disability because his nephew, right, had that type of. I mean, how much of his stuff is he throwing into? Why is he throwing his whole aspects of his life into Doctor Who? Shouldn't he just be able to separate?
It's one or two things for me, to be honest with you. There's always been an issue driven behind Doctor Who, whether it's a personal or a social issue. Even going back to the classics, and it's done.
Yeah, that's true, but
it's done subtly through allegory, and there has been points this year where it has been heavy-handed.
Like 90% of it is to do with Chibnall, not Doctor Who in general. Like, if it was 1% or 2%, okay.
I don't know. Do I say it's to do with Chibnall? I don't know. Yeah,
or whatever.
He's guiding the arc. He's guiding the arc, and perhaps it is a case of this week as opposed to it's instead of being story led, it's being issue led.
Yes. And
so rather than saying this week I want to write a story that's going to address mental health or address climate change, and I'm going to make the story fit around what I want to talk about, as opposed to I'm going to write a story, but I'd also like to talk about this. It's story first, issue second.
See, but him,
issue
you can
first
tell
and story second.
The whole season has been about what his likes and dislikes, because he's a fan of James Bond, right? So he implemented that because he had her tease at the Comic-Con about Jane Bond, meaning they were going to make an episode about that. He is about the global warming thing. He made a whole statement about his idea of Thomas Edison, which he implemented as his writers to write that Thomas Edison was this type of person. So, like, the whole season so far, even if he's not writing it directly, it's what Chibnall has in his brain that he's adding elements to the episodes. I mean, he says it in his interviews. It's coming from him.
The worst part is that where you've had this episode, which is addressed mental health, you've got an example with Matt Smith, which is basically Vincent and the Doctor, which addresses mental health and addresses mental health in a really good way, and it's not heavy-handed in a way that it can alienate a younger audience who are watching it, but it can also reflect to an older audience who are watching it. Because a lot of people who I had an issue with today We're saying, well, at the end of the day, this is a kid show. No, it's not a kid show as such. You can have it, but there's always been levels to it. There's always been the kid who watches it. There's always been the grown-up who's there watching with it. It's something for the mums, the dads, and that's everyone takes something away from it. It's not just like at the kiddie table at a wedding. There's something for everyone. It's a buffet.
I mean, can I say something controversial? Because
you could, well,
all right, I want to say something. Like, is it possible? And I don't know this for sure, but we know that he had a history with Doctor Who when he went on the airwaves and he was arrogant about Doctor Who when he was 15, right? Is it possible that when they're doing the story arc about Yaz, it's not a story arc for Yaz, but it's a story arc for Chibnall because he was the one that was bullied. Possibly he was the one that wanted to commit suicide. He was the one that was arrogant about Doctor Who, ripping it to shreds and then regretting it later because that's not him and that doesn't represent him loving Doctor Who. So could it be possible that this is all about Chris Chibnall's life? Just like Coupling is about Stephen Moffat's life that he wrote. But like, could this be about Chris Chibnall directly?
Damn, that's a leap. That's a leap.
Yeah.
Okay,
I don't know his backstory too much. I'm just saying.
Okay, well, by the same proxy, apply that to Russell T Davies. It doesn't work. You're writing about somebody who in essence lives forever and travels around in time and space through a box. You can't. But it's the level of importance upon which you place the matters and subjects to you. And it's how effectively you do that. It's whether you want to do it with a deft touch or whether you want to do it with a sledgehammer. And we know how the sledgehammer approach because of the way that people felt about Orphan 55.
But wouldn't you build up like the Yaz story arc instead of giving like 5 minutes to an episode?
That's the worst thing about the Yaz story, to be honest with you.
Like the whole season just build up.
Last year everyone talked about there was nothing for Yaz, and they said that this year is going to be all about Yaz development. But what it is you've now got this thing about we're going to shoehorn Yaz's backstory to all of a sudden have this thing that there's never really been any foreshadowing to. There's never been any idea about this to it. So that does, it makes her character ring hollow. Yes, I do agree that there is that point to it. If it has a connection and it does some good for the people watching it, then obviously good. I'm pleased that it has that effect. But as a creative piece, there are holes in the sweater that you can pull apart till the cows come home.
Connor, could you read comments?
Oh yeah, I can find out live comments.
Connor, did he fall asleep again? No.
Okay, well, yeah.
All right.
Charlie, Doctor Who 50 and Beyond. Sorry, guys, sound issue. Doctor Who has shown other real life issues. I think this material is not for this show.
I agree with that.
Chibnall is pulling drama stories, which he's used to writing. The showrunner, he's choosing the stories from the writers, not the BBC. He has control over which stories go into the season. Yeah, he does. To a certain degree, he has. Yeah.
Yeah.
The subject matter is down to Chibnall.
I mean, say tomorrow's episode, is that going to be another message episode? I know it's about Mary Shelley and Frankenstein monster, but will there be a subtext message behind that as well? Because he seems to be doing that with every episode that's come out so far. All these messages of social awareness messages, sort of thing.
Well, let me ask you a question. I'll ask you, Philip. What am I supposed to be focused on in the last episode? What should you be focused on in the last episode? Is it have to do with the Eternals? Does it have to do with Graham? Does that have to do with Yaz? There's so much stuff mixed in. What is the main message of the last episode?
Of the last episode of the season run?
The last episode, can you hear me? What was the main focus of that episode.
You know what? For one thing, I don't really know why they even put the Eternals in there in the first place.
Exactly.
If it was all going to center around mental illness within people, I mean,
Right.
I couldn't see the trick in that, to be honest. It didn't really make any sense to have the Eternals within that story. They could have taken that out.
They were utilizing someone's self-doubt. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
But what it is, like I said a little while ago, is that you add too many second strings, too many sort of like extra stories involved in it, and too many extra people in it to be able to flesh out the story properly. You didn't need to have Aleppo in it. You didn't.
So now the next episode, it looks like the Doctor directly asks her to write a horror story. Like she's creating the history.
She influenced Frankenstein.
And that's not the way it should be, technically, because that's not the way it happened. And I know she's saying that time just got altered because, like, the guy...
Until I see it tomorrow, I don't know.
Yeah. I'm just wondering how many layers of story is going to be buried into this one episode.
Well, yeah. That's the thing. It's a case of I'm going to go into tomorrow fresh. I'm excited because I like the subject matter and the Frankenstein story and everything like that. I like that. I'm looking forward to that.
Do you think do you think they're going to have the Cybermen be in it for like 5 minutes?
No, I think it's going to be how you said earlier today. I think you're not going to see the Cybermen until towards the end.
Like 5 minutes or like last couple minutes. Like the whole thing is just be like, oh, and then there's a lone Cyberman.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen.
So then, would that kind of be a letdown then of an episode?
No, well, it's got to be it's got to be a leading into the Cybermen story itself.
You don't know any of that till you see it. You don't know any of that till you see it. All you know is that there's going to be a Cyberman. Hey, it's a costume change for Jodie, which that's something. I'm hoping there's not going to be an over reliance on the Sonic because, like I say, last week's thing was that it's one of those two things. It's 2 steps forward and 1 step back.
Mm-hmm.
So you do like Fugitives of the Judune, which engendered a lot of fan service, engendered a lot of good feeling towards it in one respect. The sequence of Doctors, notwithstanding, it engendered a lot of good feeling because it felt safe and it felt Russell T Davies and it felt Stephen Moffat. It had the feeling that people associate with good Doctor Who.
Yeah, traditional Doctor Who, that was.
But it was also playing it safe because it appealed to your sensibilities because you've seen these historically. But then you get to the next couple of episodes and it's a case of it's too busy. I don't like to think I'm a Goldilocks Doctor Who fan. I'm not a Goldilocks Doctor Who fan because you could say last year, oh well, it's too simple. It's the porridge is too cold. This year, there's too many people. The porridge is too hot. And it's not a case of that. It's just like make it a straightforward story. Just don't convolute it. Don't oversimplify it either. Because if you want to make a kids show, then that's fine. But don't put it at that time in the evening between Country File and Call the Midwife. Put it on at an earlier time. That's fine. You want to make it kiddie friendly, do that. Put it there, whatever. But if you want to make something that is going to be for all ages through 8 through 80, and you want to inspire discussion, so you will have kids watch it, you will have parents watching it, everyone will take something away from it, and the kids will turn around to the mum and dad and say, what do you think about that? And then it inspires a discussion or a debate, which is, if you want to do an issue-led storyline, then fine. I don't think I'm asking a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's an improvement over this season.
Overall, yeah.
I would say. But, I mean, is it where it needs to be yet? Not really, but it's still better than last season. But is it enough to, retain fans or get fans back?
But, an improvement over last year. Well, yeah, that's a case of just like it's when you call the fire brigade after the house is burnt down or while it's still burning. It's one of two things. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, it's still not good enough.
Yeah, it's inconsistent. Is yeah, and you could say previous showrunners have been inconsistent because you have a duff point, whatever.
Now, what will the delay in Series 13 do to the show, being that the ratings ain't where they need to be, and now we won't see it straight through until another year and a half?
Almost 2
Will
years.
this be the nail in the coffin? Because, you're going to be absent from Doctor Who, with the exception of whatever happens in the finale and the special. Overall, the season, the ratings have been going down, down, down. So would this be a major blow to Doctor Who, having it off air so long?
Certainly not going to help. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't understand why it's such a problem.
Right, okay. I'll give you an example. My son is 14 years old. Watched Tennant, Smith, Capaldi, rule on it. Wasn't feeling this year. Dropped off. Well, in fact, he didn't feel last year. Didn't actually finish the previous season. Can't actually be motivated with this year. And the longer it goes on with that, you just lose momentum. It's how do you get the train rolling again? And if you're not engaging the casual viewer, where you have got multiple streaming services and everything like that, you can try and make Doctor Who relevant by addressing issues and subjects that are, hot potatoes, hot political potatoes, or you can just make a sci-fi show and put a theme in it. And to say, like, things like Star Trek, that has a longevity, because people will just go back and rewatch Star Trek, and it can still have messages in it, and it can still have issues that are timeless within it. Racism, and things like that, or even Next Generation with about different aspects of environmentalism and everything like that. You can still have that ingrained with it, but in essence, you're working from a good sci-fi story first.
Right.
And you're missing that boat by letting that ship sail, because you're losing the momentum. You're not fighting to be relevant by waving your hands very loudly and banging down doors. Just make a good program and people will do it.
Do you think that because, like, we're having a situation where there'd be a huge gap, that it's better to just, if it's going to take so long to make Doctor Who, then to throw a couple of specials out there, knowing that they can't literally get it out on time?
That's the problem, though. If you can't get out a proper season, how the hell are you going to get out specials as well, then? Because if they can't do that, they can't do the specials.
I just don't understand how Russell T Davies was able to pop out 13 episodes plus a Christmas special, Sarah Jane and Torchwood with no problem. And even Moffat, all right, he had some issues because he was doing Sherlock, he was doing Tintin. There was a split year here, there was whatever. But Chibnall doesn't have anything else other than Doctor Who. So I don't understand why it's taking longer for him with less episodes.
Maybe, like, remember when you said that he has all the power now? Maybe he hasn't got that kind of power like you thought he had.
Oh, no, he does. But maybe that's why he's...
But then why can't he turn out, as you just said, why can't he turn out consistent Doctor Who?
Here's another factor. He screwed the China deal. They got in trouble, right? Because he broke his promise, right? So
there was no
compromise was...
There's no promise.
He made a blatant promise that every year would be a series under his name. Every single year, meaning 2018 would be Series 11, 2019 would be Series 12, 2020 would be Series... So he's behind already.
Well, no,
he thought he'd be slick by putting out a special in 2019.
And I'm not a Chibnall defender, The deal was that basically the show would be made and they'd have first refusal on distribution.
No. The deal was that he was going to give 5 series in 5 years exactly. Not
Where?
like that's what he promised them.
Show
So
me.
that's what the deal was. That it said on the China
No,
deal.
it
It was.
That's what the deal was. When the
No,
China
that-
deal, 5 series, 5
Explain
years.
to me.
That's what it was.
They bought the right
No.
to bring.
They bought they bought
bought
the
the-
distribution rights for the show for the next
5 series up to series 15.
no, they bought the distribution rights for the upcoming season, and then they had an option for the next. It was either 2 or 3. They had first refusal on the next 2 or 3 that came after it. And yeah, you believe what you want to believe, Joe, but I'm just saying that, and I'm not saying that to the defense of Chibnall because I don't think he's great, to be honest with you. But this is what I'm saying. That was the terms of it, that they had first refusal on distribution. Now, yeah. The issue that I have is a lot of people, when I talk to a lot of people, and I do talk to a lot of people about, why is it taking so long? And they say, well, they're going to locations, they're doing this, and they've got all these fancy cameras now that do this, and rub you up and make you feel great and look make you look sexy on camera, which is great and everything like that. But not being funny, the idea of technology is supposed to make things easier. And traveling abroad is a lot easier than it was back. You can't say, well, they went to go and film, City of Death in Paris. It's different, to be honest with you. International travel is not as hard as it was. Technology is designed to make things easier when you are on site doing a job, to be honest with you. So, there's more post-production, don't get me wrong, because you want to add more effects and everything like that. But when you're on site doing on-site camera filming and everything like that, the technology makes your life easier. So yes, do you say, can you make this show as easy as you did when RTD did it? Russell T Davies did it, when Stephen Moffat did? Yeah, because the technology is there to actually make your life easier.
Right.
So yeah, there's no reason to really have it delayed later.
All right. So here's the China deal.
Okay, and is this the BBC press office thing you're taking it from?
Yeah.
Right. So
okay, so this was before Series 11 happened.
Yeah, which is
and he promised up into Series 15.
Yeah, and is it first? So basically, what it is that they had. Yeah, has he given you a time frame and said every 1 per year or not?
Right now,
where does it say that?
It says up to Series 15.
It says up to Series 15. It doesn't say 1 a year. What it is it's a case of they get everything prior to season 11. So that's seasons 1 through 10.
And this was in 2017.
2017. So they get basically a Netflix deal for 1 through 10. They get season 11 and then 12 through 15 on a first refusal. Not saying 1 a year. No, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not going to beat you over the head with it, mate. But
as and when.
But what I'm saying is, it's a case of it's taking longer, and that's necessarily not a great thing.
Right.
It's going to happen because that doesn't actually mean it's a guarantee it's going to happen either. It just means the commitment. It just means that they've got first refusal. If they don't make it, then there's no first refusal to be given.
Well,
it's just a case of whether they want to. It's just a case of, we've made a show, we've come to you, do you want to distribute it? And that's it. And then they'll get the money back from them.
Well, back in around Christmas time, there was the
They
issue
could go to them
China.
and say, do you know what, I'm not interested, get someone else to do it.
Well, again, back in Christmas, around 2019, before it hit 2020, and it was already established that the series was missing, there was a deal put in place because China was not happy, where they were going to go film in China, at least an episode or 2 for Series 13. That was before this whole thing with the virus hitting China and everything else. So now obviously whatever episodes were written in China to be in China, obviously they're not going to film another till September at least. So that episode may not happen, or it may just be severely delayed due to the stuff that's going on with China.
I've not seen anything that said, "Oh, well, we've sold it to you, so we're going to come and film in China." I don't know. I honestly don't know. I've not seen anything of that sort. But it's to be honest with you, the people that probably have got the arse more than the Far Eastern distributors are probably the merchandising guys, because with regards to merchandising, they've fallen asleep at the wheel. Because there's not really much there, unless for a kid show you're aiming at adult and looking for high-end purchase, and that's a weird dichotomy that you've got at the moment. Season 12, they just had everything that was high-end money type of thing, but you're doing a show that you're saying that you want to be aiming at kids. So you're contradicting yourself. So it's a crazy state of play.
Yeah.
I mean, there is merchandise, but it's a very small merchandising.
Well, we went through the last cast. We went through a whole
it's very small.
All right. So, what did we get the ratings back yet for?
That's good.
You haven't had the +7s. I don't think you get the +7s back for last week's till Monday.
Monday. Tomorrow then. Okay.
Okay.
All I'm saying is that I think whatever happens is, like I've said when I've been here before, is that you're always going to have a baseline with Doctor Who. You're always going to have a baseline, because there are guys like us, whether you like or dislike the guy that's running the show at the moment, you're always going to be there in the hope that I don't like this one, but I'll come back next week in the hope that it gets better.
If it's here. I mean, if it's still existing,
where
it's not damaged beyond belief, where it's canceled.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, you didn't like. I don't think any of us. Well, myself personally, I had mixed feelings towards last week. Will I come back this week? Yeah, I will. In the hope that it will. You come back in the hope that perhaps this week will be better. Perhaps this week will do something for me that last week's did not do. And there is a core base of faithful that will do that.
Right. Well, I mean, I'll watch it constantly.
But the casual viewer, that time's passed.
Yeah.
That ship. Yeah. If you're this far into the season, that ship sailed.
So we got 3 more left.
And if you're going to take another break, whoever you might have perhaps pulled on this year, and they're not massively invested as people who've been there for a long time, they might drop off as well. Yeah, it's unfortunately it's a very slow, drawn out.
I mean, it's filming late.
It's a slow. It feels like a slow, worn out wind down to a point.
Well, just think how long Jodie's in the role.
Which none of us want, but it just feels like a slow wind down to an inevitable point that you can't get away from. A fixed point. Do you know what I mean? That you're getting towards that point where. Yeah, we're going to go away for a while. We don't know when we'll be back.
But just think how long Jodie's been in the role. I mean, basically, we're talking about what, December 2017 was that when Twice Upon a Time was, and then 2018 was her first series. So she's been the Doctor since December of 2017. Well, it's a long time so far.
The Titanic was already the Titanic had already hit the iceberg. It's just a case of how quick the ship was going down.
But I'm saying, like, all the time she's been the Doctor,
because I think to a certain degree with Capaldi in the role, as great as and I will make no apologies for it. I loved Capaldi. The BBC withdrew interest by a certain point in that, because they were just they were looking at the next thing.
Right.
Jodie just sort of, I think it accelerated it, to be honest.
Yeah, it's it kind of feels like it's floundering
I said it at the time of her casting. And I said change is inevitable. A change like this is inevitable. It will happen at some way point or time. But had they have played it safe and gone for a younger guy and just basically played to the strengths of the Tennant and the Smith thing, playing it safe, okay. But do you know what? It would have kept the ship floating for a bit longer, and perhaps it would have bolstered the foundations. Then make that change when things were all together. All it did was it just took Doctor Who, put a big toffee hammer and just smashed it into a million pieces.
But see, Chibnall is not going to leave.
And then all them pieces are just fucking bitching at each other.
But Chibnall is not going to leave if Jodie leaves. He's going to do up to Series 15.
Well, that's what we assume.
That's what his contract is, isn't it?
They'll go with
you're looking at the China deal thing on that.
No, I'm not looking at the China deal. I'm looking at the deal that he made with the BBC was up to Series 15. So, like, do you honestly think he's going to make the next Doctor a man? Absolutely not.
Why not?
Because he's not doing that. He's not doing that.
Well, you know what? If I'm brutally honest, it's not working in my eyes with the Doctor we got now. So he's going to have. So go on, Connor.
It's more than likely he'll do 3 and out than 5, I think.
But if he does 5, he's not going to make a male Doctor. He's going to make another female Doctor.
Well, I don't know.
He's not going to do it.
I think he'll stick with Jodie. Like, Jodie will be his Doctor. There won't be a change or anything, even if he does stay on for 5 years.
She'll stay on for Series 13. She'll do the 60th, but I don't know if she'll be in Series 14. Do you think she'll be in Series 14?
No, not a chance. Not a chance.
So he's going to choose another female.
Well, not necessarily another female. Maybe they don't.
First of all, the logo is a female. Let's be honest. He's not going to keep. He's going to choose a female. That's a female. That's a women's symbol in the logo. So you're not going to have a male with a women's symbol.
Yeah, but that's just for.
He's not going to make a male Doctor at all.
Why not?
He's not.
He's changed the Master back to a male.
But the man that doesn't have anything to do with the Doctor. He's not going to.
Well,
he. This is the way he wants to do it. He's not going to do that.
Well, if he changes, if he does another female, it's got to be a female with a bit more gusto and gravitas than what Jodie's had. He's got to pick a better female actor than her.
Why can't Ruth actually be the 14th Doctor?
Oh no! Well, we don't know about that. We don't know that until that is written out and played out. We don't know what's going to go on with that. You can't really jump on that straight away.
Here's the thing: they have to ask Jodie pretty quickly because these episodes are almost done written. So they would have to write a regeneration thing if her contract is up.
Who's to say they haven't done that already? Who's to say they haven't done that and they've done it in secret?
You keep thinking for like years that they filmed this dramatic regeneration episode with Jodie and she's out. You've been saying this for how many years now?
Well,
it's not happening. It's not. So, like, she's still here. In fact, 7 months ago, she told some podcast, that she was definitely doing another series. And now all of a sudden, a couple of months ago, everybody's like surprised. Oh my God!
You can say those sort of things to people. People want to hear that sort of thing, so you can say that. But
I don't think she's genuinely lying at all. I think I know I'm contractually obligated for Series 13. I'm just going to say it. What does it matter? But here's the thing. You're Jodie Whittaker. The filming thing does not bother you at all. And so why would, if she's being asked, why wouldn't she stay for the 60th? Wouldn't that be the crown jewels of the whole thing, to stay to the 60th? Why would you want to be out before the 60th anniversary? You would want to stay. I mean, obviously, Chris Chibnall's right.
Yeah. My feeling is that, she'll probably be around till that point. Yeah. She'll probably be around to that point.
So she'll sign on, but you don't sign on for one episode. That's the whole point. Is that her contract is over on the Series 13. So she would have to renegotiate her contract, not for a special, but for a whole damn series.
Well, this is my feeling, because we don't know how season 13 is structured. We don't.
Well, it is 10 episodes plus a special. It's the same exact format, they said.
When did they say that?
They said that.
Did they say that at BBC Showcase this week?
I don't know about that. No, not this week. They said a couple of weeks ago that it was 10 plus a special, like as the norm.
I don't know. No, I don't know. I think they've only said season 13. She said, "I'm coming back for season 13." That's it.
I thought there was an article that said, I'll have to look it up. I thought there was an article that said 10
not that
episodes
I've seen.
special.
Not that I've seen. The only thing that we could gauge from that is BBC Showcase, which is where they're selling it to foreign countries for the distribution of the show.
And also, you know that when the 60th happens, you're not going to have a series at all.
Well, my feeling was that they're going to do Jodie 1 and 2, and depending on how 1 and 2 fare, they'll look at whether they'll do a standard type series or whether they'll do specials. My feeling is the way things are now, they'll probably look to do specials.
I don't even think there's going to be a 6th year.
They're not going to do specials.
I don't think there's an aptitude for it.
Well, let me put it this way. When we were talking about Captain Jack, right? I was convinced he was coming back. You said there's no way he's coming back. And he's back. So, like, they can do a whole series, technically, regardless of... I mean, things paid for already.
They could do it, but I just don't know, to be honest with you.
I don't know either. That's the...
The thing is, until you make fundamental changes on how the cast is structured, you can't realistically work out where next year's going to go. Because, not getting funny, you need to get rid of the 3 companion dynamic.
I don't think he's doing that, though. I think that this delay has to do with when Tassim Cole finishes 8 episodes for that thing, when Amanda Gill finishes her series, when Jodie Whittaker finishes her movie, and when Graham finishes his thing.
They've already filmed the next special.
They did that that was part of the pack.
They did that because they've got everyone on site already filming stuff, this, that, and the other. Bradley Walsh is very, very busy.
That's supposed to be the holdover to whet her appetite, because Doctor Who's going to be severely late.
But the one thing that's made this year tough, and also to a certain degree repetitive, is that you've got to have multi-locations, because you've got to break up the companions, to put them in different places, to give them all individual things to do, and then makes your show very busy because you're trying to put all these stitches and bits and bobs together. You take that out.
So then shrink the companions then.
Yeah, of course you do. Yeah, you need to.
One companion.
Now is about the time you want to kill someone off. Well, to be honest with you, the time to kill someone off was actually 2 episodes ago. Because I think when we were speaking with Connor the other day, there's a big tonal shift, which is a case of, I don't know about traveling with the Doctor, everything like that. Oh, I don't know how it's affecting my friends. Anyone want to go see Frankenstein? Yay!
It's...
Oh, my God.
Yeah. And that's it. You've got, oh, Doctor, where'd you go? What upsets you? Everything like that. Oh, I went home and, the master dicked all over my planet.
But isn't that funny how they're like, we're your fan, we're your mates. And then she can't do the same shit for Graham. That's what gets me.
That's it. That for me was a big mistake. It was a big mistake, and to the point that the BBC had to put out a statement about it.
But their statement sucked.
Yeah, but how do you handle?
The worst part is that you could have had a simple line of dialogue. It would have completely taken out the need for it, and had it have not been overcomplicated, you could have had that line of dialogue, because you're making yourself be a busy fool. You're wasting your time doing stuff you don't need to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Hello, Scott.
And that's the problem, though. If you're going to use that kind of subject, you've got to have some sort of, like Beef said, some sort of thing to caveat to make it okay. But if they couldn't even do that, why do it in the first place?
It was time travel for time travel's sake. It was time travel for time travel's sake, because you go back to her and say, oh, well, there's a bit where she says, oh, well, the thing was, this was the very first mental hospital time. They are very advanced at this point in time in the way they think about it and everything like that. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this chick out of the part from Aleppo, and then we're going to take her into the future, and we're going to take her on a spaceship. And really,
just like they did in Skyfall.
And what else does she do? You could have basically left her out of it, used the hopes, dreams, fears, aspirations of Ryan's mate or anyone else you wanted to do that. You could have made it, in fact, a cheaper episode, because we always talk about how Doctor Who has a expensive and a cheap episode, where a simple story is a cheap episode. But do you know what? You could have had a cheap episode and it being massively impactful. Because you know what, Vincent and the Doctor, which is to harken back to a story that talks about mental health issues, the monster was actually secondary. It was a bullshit.
It was. I mean, why you bother having it in there?
It was a bullshit chicken monster that really didn't pay much into it, and it didn't really have much screen time.
They wanted a distraction.
They didn't waste a lot of time on it, doing a setup on it and everything like that, because it was there as a secondary aspect to Vincent, who really was the focus of things. You were thinking it was going to be the monster, but it turned around to be actually, when you went through the scenes and looked at it on a rewatch, the focus was Vincent. This one, it wasn't. There was a lot of setup for Zellin and atmosphere building, tension building. And then you find out that he's serving the one that's stuck between the planets. She shows up, and she's really forgettable, and completely undermines all the time you spent building up in Gelding's character, Zellin. And you've given less time to the idea that you really want to address, which is the mental health. So you're putting all these bits into the soup and everything like that, but you're not getting, it's like, you want chicken soup, but what we're doing is we're adding a fire truck into the soup. We're adding potatoes. We're adding broccoli. You just want chicken soup. No one wants a fire truck in their soup.
It was a bit of a hodgepodge story. I mean,
focus.
Do one thing or another. You can't do both.
Focus is wrong.
Yeah. I mean, we could have easily had new companions this season, and they could have got rid of.
Yeah, and they should have. And I'm sorry, I've said this many times before. I know, till it sounds like I'm beating a dead horse, but they need to honestly, this next coming season, they need to have at least 2 companions at one time or 1 companion at one time.
I honestly think he doesn't care, and he's doing it like he did Broadchurch. This is the fam. This is the cast. We're not changing it. We're not doing it. Get used to it. I don't care how long it takes for them to be ready. We'll film it a year and a half from now if we have to, because he's used to filming Broadchurch like later too. So whatever. I mean, he has more. Doesn't he have more of an ego than Moffat and Russell T Davies?
That time in which the show's off the air and when it comes back on. But of course, Chip
isn't Bradley Walt signed on for Series 13 anyway, according to his file, or is that nonsense?
I don't know.
I don't know, because the way things are is that season resolution is being included in the season.
That's part of Series 11. Yeah.
Season 11.
That's technically the finale that Ranskorav Kolos wasn't.
Right, okay. Ranskorav Kolos and then Resolution are going to be season 11.
Right, and this Dalek special is technically
season
should
12.
Be technically the finale to season 12.
Yeah, so basically, because the only thing that's listed on Bradley Walsh's thing is a year. Yeah.
Oh, it's not Series 13. I thought it was Series. Somebody said it was Series 13.
It's based on years.
Okay.
So
all right.
So it could say next year's date on it, because if next year's special goes out on next year, then that classifies as
which it probably will January 1st, 2020.
So that's what I'm saying. It's arguing over who's the biggest midget in the circus. Do you know what I mean?
It's just amazing how we can have like what? How many years pass? Like 5 years or more, and she's still like it's the same. It's just weird, isn't it? I mean, she'll be. Just picture her being the Doctor in 2023. How many years would she have been in the role? That's even though she's only got like 3. That's going to be ridiculous.
Effective change can only, with regards to the show, can only come 2 years down the line, or two. It's one, skip one, and then the change comes into effect. Because the thing is, like I said to Philip before, is that when the previous series aired, and we had issues with it, they were already writing the following series.
Right. Series 11 and 12 were together.
Those scripts were already locked for the
I remember that.
The season 12. So
series 11 and 12 were written at the same
time. So your criticisms of season 11 could not factor into season 12.
Correct.
Which is what we're getting now. So
series 13 would be the difference.
Yeah. If you want to think a change has been affected, then we'll see what happens next year. There are tonal shifts this year, but it's more, as a percentage hit, it's better, but still not.
It's a tad better, but not much.
It's not what I feel the show deserves. The show deserves better.
Yeah,
they added
get rid of nuts and get people to know how to write freaking Doctor Who.
Yeah, I think the show deserves better than what it gets.
Yeah. Okay. So, we have to wait, I guess, 2 years before we see that improvement.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. It's like backing up a trailer truck. Do you know what I mean? It takes time.
Which, what are you going to do?
But that's the disappointing thing, is that then you have to go through a year of, well, is this have they evolved themselves?
No.
And if anything, in one respect, some things have got better, other things have got worse.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, once this season's done, I'll be thinking, do I want to come back?
Exactly. That's the point.
Yeah.
It's too long.
Yeah. Do I want to come back
too
after
long.
It's not just, I mean, the quality of this season's been okay, but do I want to come back for series 13 after seeing series 12? And I'll be like, yeah, we've got the gap, but do I want to come back? I think, nah, I'm not satisfied as yet. It's not doing what it's doing for me.
Let me bring up an example. Look at how we used to do podcasts on The Walking Dead. And as the seasons went on, nobody watched it anymore, with the exception I was watching it. It was getting harder for me to do a cast on The Walking Dead because Scott stopped watching it. You stopped watching it. This one stopped watching it. Even I stopped watching it. So then it was pointless to do a cast on The Walking Dead because nobody's watching it anymore of my group. So the thing is, I'll be reviewing Doctor Who probably by myself. But I mean, still, it could happen.
It just got dull, and it felt like
it could happen with Doctor Who. It could be of all our group, people just not. It could happen. I can't say it can't.
I mean, even this whole season has been set Earthbound sort of thing in a way. It's not gone anywhere beyond the Earth sphere, and it's a bit. What's the point of her having a TARDIS if she can't go into space with it, man?
Yeah, and that's another thing I'm getting so damn tired of. It's like Earth. If you want to have Earth-based adventures, great, but then bring back. I know it'd be kind of hard with her dad, but you could. A good enough writer could work around that. Sarah Jane Adventures, Torchwood, or spin Doctor Who off onto something else.
Yeah.
Also, there's a lot of people that are talking about having totally Doctor Who return and Doctor Who Confidential. That stuff won't return if the ratings are dropping so bad in the toilet. You don't add more shows.
If you're going to do that, then do it just strictly for the DVD and Blu-ray
You're
release.
not going to do it. Like,
But that's the
first
only
of all,
way it would work out.
Nothing has made the BBC change their minds about their commission thing. The last thing that on the list, unless it changes, is a 60th. And I don't know anything past that at this point in time. Even though there could be a Series 14, as far as I'm concerned, the 60th is it right now.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, because they not commissioned it past that. So, again, his time is running out to get Doctor Who where it needs to be with the ratings and everything else.
And I don't
Unfortunately,
honest to God, do not.
We have another series for him to prove himself, but the clock is ticking. If you delay it further enough, you're never going to have any season while this. First of all, there's not going to be any season the same year as the 60th. That is obvious. I mean, maybe we'll get it. I mean, honestly, you're not.
I see.
We didn't get it with the 50th. We got some bullshit where we got, a special and then the 50th. It's like we lost a whole damn season. So, of course, there's no way they're going to do 10 episodes plus the 60th in that. We're just going to lose the whole damn season. And they'll use the 60th as a crazy ending that will, if it does continue, you'll have a year break again.
This is why my feeling is specials, to be honest with you. If you're going to go for specials close to, Tennant's outro, they're going to crew up at the end of the summer, start end of the summer, whatever. You don't need to have the companions because
you don't.
You can basically cut them out, so you can have a companion of the week or whatever the special is.
Yeah, but with Tennant, you had season 2, season 3, season 4. Then you had specials. Her contract is Series 11, Series 12, Series 13, which then she would have specials after that because
her contract is probably 1 to 2 years max with an option of year 3.
No, she was signed.
But they could say, well, the specials are a series. That's what I'm saying. You don't have to say a series is this many episodes. So they could say, well, do you know what? Of our hourly productive content, 10 episodes of 55 minutes. Well, I tell you what, instead of 10 episodes of 55 minutes, we're going to make 5 or 6 episodes of 72 minutes or something like that.
They could do anything they want, but I don't think
so. That's what I'm saying. They're going to have the same amount of airtime, but do longer special episodes. You can still have that, and then you have the liberty of stretching those out. So they can be filming at end of summer. You're not going to see perhaps the first one till the last summer or autumn next year. Spread them out, for 3 or 4 months apart. That runs you all through the following year, which is 2022. Perhaps into that. Then you've got a similar sort of gap between seasons to give you your 60th, which is her bow out cinematic one that they'll do for
should be his
2 hours.
You have a better chance of seeing another season of Sherlock before Series 13.
Exactly.
And with the way Moffat's talking,
I see Howard the Duck making an appearance.
That got canceled
before Series 13.
Howard the Duck got canceled. But anyway, the Moffat just talked recently that Sherlock is happening still eventually. So that's in the cards. But
oh dear. It's not looking good.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what are your hopes for tomorrow? What are your hopes for tomorrow? Let's take obviously the carnage, the crash, the final destination pile up of
I honestly think
the previous.
Tomorrow is going to be a letdown.
Was that tomorrow?
I think it's going to be a letdown. I think that everybody's going to think Cybermen. Oh my God!
No, it's
And
not
it's
gonna be
not the
Cybermen.
finale.
Do you think it's going to be a comedy episode? Because that's it. That's the only thing that I will take from it. Is
It looks like it could be comedy.
while they've gone for atmosphere,
Chibnall's entire
the video, the clips or the snippets that we've seen are more comedy.
It could be just a letdown. I don't think that before I thought, okay, Lone Cybermen, but I think this is going to be a letdown, and you're going to just want to wait for the 2-part finale. Yeah. I feel that's what we're going to get. I think everybody's going into it thinking, oh my God, this is going to be great. This is Cybermen.
No,
and like, oh no.
And with Chibnall's track rating, it's going to be.
I'm excited for the subject matter. Like I say, it's something that is already close to my heart. Do I get the feeling it's going to be a bit of a comedy episode? A little bit. And then there'll be the big twist at the end, which will be your Lone Cyberman. But I don't know.
If we even get
that.
But
like I say, I'm a Doctor Who fan who will always watch this episode and say, if this one didn't work for me, I'm always hoping next week will be something better.
And we will be here to the end too, doing.
Yeah, but that's like I say.
We'll be here when they shut the lights off.
And that's the worst thing, because that was the feeling that I had with last year, which was well, this week's wasn't so great. Maybe next week's will be better. And I do think there is as much as this year was the difficult second album, even after this, where it has been so divisive, you're going to be fighting more of an uphill battle, because
well,
how long before apathy sets in? And apathy is a hard way to get when you lose momentum anyway. It's just it's piling more and more on.
I think apathy is already set in. It's just that people are wanting.
This is why,
and that's it. And it's
one of those cases. You know how you're watching. You know it's a bad move. You know it sucks balls, but yet you're wanting to stay till the end to see how it
just in case something happens.
Yeah. This is why a long time ago I decided that we were going to do stuff other than Doctor Who, like the Everything Show and the Horror Kit, because there's going to be a time when Doctor Who is just, we need to talk about something else.
It will just run out of steam, and that's it.
Right.
And I think the worst thing could be, because it's inevitable that I think it will run out of steam at some waypoint in time, that it needs to rest.
Right.
But
I honestly think too that we'll be there when the lights go off, but we'll also be here when the lights go back on.
It's peaks and troughs, but it's a case of, could it have been that you could have perhaps got a few years out of it, then it didn't, like the dials didn't run out, the money in the meter didn't run out as quick as it did. I think you
notice how Russell T Davies and Moffat said that, Doctor Who is going to be around for another 10 years. And they made sure of it. They had the commission date. Oh, it's safe. It's safe. It's safe. And now it's it's not safe.
Yeah.
I mean, now you're actually pondering an exit.
If say we get to the 60th and then it goes on an indefinite break for however long, that's saddening, because I think, the way it stands at the moment, you could probably have more time. You could have got you could have milked an extra couple of years out of this.
Charlie, the last 2 episodes are a 2-parter, yes.
That's the sad thing is Chibnall. It's like Chibnall is just coming in, getting his paycheck, and going.
Listen, here's the thing: like, people write all over Twitter, "Oh my God, he's doing Torchwood." No, he's not.
No.
Russell T Davies is complete control of Torchwood. He said he would like to, but it's up to Russell T Davies, and he thinks Russell T Davies has other plans right now, whatever that means for Torchwood. So no, he doesn't have anything. Like, he's not going to be doing Torchwood, So
no,
I mean,
and to be honest, we had Big Finish own the rights for Torchwood as well, so they can do it.
And would you want him to take on something else when he can't even get Doctor Who out every single year? No, not really. So, all right, not to be doom and gloom, but we're going to cover tomorrow's episode. I won't be able to see it tomorrow night, so we'll do it
Yes,
tomorrow night.
here, 'cause I'm going to be working.
We'll cover the finale. We'll cover the special. We'll be here as long as Doctor Who's here, and even after that. And we're going to be doing everything shows also, because there's a lot of other stuff to talk about other than Doctor Who. And eventually we are going to do Cast on Picard or Picard meets Lord of the Rings, whatever the hell it is. But yeah, we're going to do Picard because I did like the first episode, and I got to make time to watch the other episodes. So
yes, and like I said earlier, happy belated birthday to you.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Happy birthday to Starry-Eyed Girl. It's her
and
birthday.
Vaughn's birthday was
Ron's birthday too.
Yes, happy birthday.
Vaughn's same birthday as me.
Happy birthday, fictional creation of that, but also Starry-Eyed Girl, who I believe watches your videos as well. It's her birthday as well, and I hope you've had a tremendous day wherever you are in the north of England.
Yes, and then back to work tomorrow.
It's Sunday for me. I'm going to sleep for a very long time.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye for now.